So if you're a new rider, what type of advice do you get from your family, from your friends, from anybody in general? Well, I'll tell you what usually they tell you. Be careful, head on a swivel, look out for cars, ride your own ride. That's pretty much what they tell you. But riding nearly 35 years on basically all types of different style motorcycles and riding with my MC, I will honestly tell you, that's all fine and dandy, but that's just the basics. So in this video, if you guys are a new rider, if you guys just started riding, I'm going to tell you the most essential tips for staying alive on your motorcycle. And a lot of these tips, this isn't something that you are going to learn in any school or from anybody just telling you, hey, be safe, watch out for cars. There is a lot of common sense that goes into play with being safe on your motorcycle. So let me finish getting dressed up. We're gonna take an awesome ride with Glenn and George. We're gonna go up into New York State. We're gonna take a nice ride, grab something to eat, and I'm going to give you my top tips for staying out of trouble. By the way, this is the new Beyond Riders soft shell jacket. I have one with the hood. This one is without a hood. Let me tell you, this thing is fantastic. I already tried the soft shell jacket with the hood on, and it basically prevents all of the wind from going into you. All I got on is my heated jacket, and I got this today, and I'll tell you guys how it works. It looks really good too. So guys, these tips, what I'm about to tell you in this video, they apply to any motorcycle. Whether you ride a moped, a dirt bike, supermoto, sport bike, super naked, Harley Davidson, bagger, touring, ADV, it doesn't matter. All of these tips will apply to you. If you guys are new to the channel, just tuning in, this is my 2022 Road Glide Performance bagger, Harley Davidson. There's my son's Dyna, he's about to go off to school. And we got the Duke 890R KTM, absolutely amazing, fun bike to ride. Now this video might be a little lengthy, but I would encourage you to watch it in its entirety because like I said before, the tips that I'm about to show you guys, you're not gonna learn in any type of book. These are tips and things that I do on a daily basis when I get on my motorcycle. Some people will have that basic instinct, but most will not. But we're gonna show you guys today, so this way you'll come back home safe and sound to your loved ones and to your family. Here's my boy, Cam, and that's his 2007 Dyna. And the same things that I'm going to tell you guys today, I've already went over with him multiple times. So this way he's safe. He's a brand new rider. He just started riding this year. This is actually his second bike, but his first Harley Davidson that he just purchased. And beautiful find, beautiful bike, only 5,400 miles on it. Look at that smile. All right, so we're off to meet the guys. We can start with the number one thing I will tell you, even especially around town. The majority of accidents on motorcycles happen in and around town. Believe it or not on the highway doing fast speeds. So in particular, when you're riding in town and you see these intersections come up, not like this one where it doesn't go into anywhere, it's just end of the road, a T, but I mean intersections where kind of the street that is perpendicular to the one you're on, they can basically just keep going. Those are the intersections which are very, very dangerous. Number one, because people blow through them. At a T, they'll obviously see when they're coming up, if they can't go anymore, chances are they're going to stop at that intersection. But if there is an intersection that is perpendicular, meaning you can cut across that road that you're on, those are very, very dangerous. So especially if you're coming, say, on an intersection with a traffic light and you have the green to those intersections, do not automatically think that the cars that are coming up to that intersection are going to either stop or see you. Whenever I'm riding and I'm going through intersections like that, I never, ever give them the benefit of the doubt and say to myself, oh, okay, they're gonna stop. They either see the red light, or they see the stop sign, or they see me. I'm never going through the intersection like I'm in my recliner and I got nothing to worry about. In the back of my mind, I'm always thinking the opposite. I'm thinking, they do not see me, they are going to go through that stop sign, or they are going to go through that red light. So we're going to be on the highway for a little bit. That's where we're going to be talking about some of the tips as far as how I ride on the highway to keep you guys safe. So the first thing I will tell you, whether you're a new rider or a veteran rider, I like to ride a little bit faster than the flow of traffic, and there's a lot of reasons why I do that. So number one is because if you are going slower than the flow of traffic, that means cars are actually passing you. So that just gives so much more chance and so much more risk of people passing you, not paying attention, being on their phone, looking the other way. And if they're passing you, if they're moving faster than you, that is a greater risk for them to actually either hit you, back into you, or go into your lane. So if the flow of traffic, for example, is moving 60 miles an hour, I like to be moving at least 65 to 70. So this way, there is very little chance cars are actually going to be passing me. Now, you may get that occasional car that is going way over the speed limit, but I tend to look a lot in my rearview mirrors, and if I do see that happen, I just actually move over depending on what lane I'm in. You guys can see now I'm just going a little bit faster than the flow of traffic. I'm passing the cars. Nobody is passing me, minimizing that risk of somebody hitting you from the back or going into you or going into your lane. There is way more control when you are actually passing the cars because you are in control of your motorcycle. So another thing I like to do when I'm on the highway and as I'm passing the cars, I stay away from the cars when I'm passing. If I'm in the right lane, for example, and I'm passing cars, I don't stay in the right side of the lane. I shift the bike over to the left side. I try to always be as far away from the vehicle as possible. Even though you have control and you are moving faster than the flow of traffic and passing the cars, you still don't know what they're going to do. Whether they're going to try to pass the car in front of them and shift into your lane, or whether they just want to change and go into that lane. You don't know if they're going to see you. So being on the left side of the lane just minimizes that risk that they're going to hit you. If you are in the left side of the lane, or vice versa, in the right side of the lane, if you are passing cars from the right, you just have that much more chance and that much more time that you can pass the cars safely. I will tell you, maybe some new riders will likely be reluctant to ride a little faster than the flow of traffic in the beginning, but I will tell you, it is definitely more safe than having people keep passing you one after another. So the next thing on a highway is you definitely want to give yourself a lot of space from your motorcycle to the next car in front of you. So I know a lot of people may think that, hey, it's a motorcycle, that you can probably stop quicker than the car in front of you, but that's not necessarily true. We've seen a bunch of reviews, especially even on super bikes, where they do emergency braking tests from like 100 miles an hour
a super bike against a car and the car stops quicker. So this right here, this lesson is super important now. You see how I'm stuck with the truck in front of me and also the tractor trailers to the right? You never, ever, and I see people do this all the time. They just stand next to a tractor trailer for like miles and miles and miles. This is what I do. I literally speed up, and it may be even a lot faster than the flow of traffic, but I never, ever stay next to a tractor trailer. I have seen many occasions, and I'm not just saying, hey, maybe the tractor trailer won't see you and go into your lane, which is highly probable, but I've seen many occasions where the tractor trailer loses its entire wheel. If you're riding next to a tractor trailer, I don't know why anybody would ever do this or feel comfortable doing that, but if you are riding next to a tractor trailer, or any car for that matter, there is just such a great risk for the wheel to come off and run into you. And if a tractor trailer wheel, even a car wheel, comes off and hits you, it is going to definitely take you out. So just like now, I'm passing the tractor trailer, I'm staying on the left. Do not stay on the right. Like even the guys behind me right now, they're staying on the right because we're in formation. But me personally, even when I'm in formation, I never ever pass a car or tractor trailer in the right lane, only a few feet away from them. There is just way too much risk. So you may ask, what if a tractor trailer there's on the left, just like there is now, and there's one on the right? I'm going to tell you exactly what I do. I stay behind the tractor trailer, okay, until I know there's enough clear room for me to pass it. Just like now, he moved over to the right. Now I'm going to hit the gas, stay over to my left, and pass that tractor trailer as quickly and safely as I possibly can. Same thing goes with the car. I never ever stay next to a car on the highway. Ever. I don't know, they could pass out from whatever, sleeping, or just pass out. They could actually have a health issue and pass out. I've seen that happen, believe it or not. Their wheel could fall off their car. What if they get a blowout? So another thing is, the tractor trailer doesn't necessarily have to have a tire fall off of their tractor trailer. They could get a blowout. And I'll tell you right now, if their left side, if you are on their left side and their left front tire blows out, that tractor trailer is going straight into your lane. And it is rapid. It is not something that happens slowly and you will have a chance to correct. It just happens way too fast. So now I'm going into the left lane. Not only am I looking, majority of times I'm looking obviously in my rear view, but I will always try to get a glance, turn my head and look back to make sure there is nothing in my blind spot. You see, I'm just quickly passing the tractor trailer. And at no time will I stay next to a car or a truck or a big rig. Never, ever. Keep that in the back of your mind. Never, ever stay next to any type of vehicle on the highway. You know, and anybody that's watching this video, all due respect, a lot of these things are common sense. But I will say, some people just don't have it. And it has to be taught to them. It has to be told to them. And that's why I wanted to bring this video, because I actually, through all of the years that we have been doing ride videos and videos here on YouTube, I have never put together a video like this. So now again, I'm waiting for that car to pass. I know I have space. I'm gonna hit the gas. And in like 2 seconds, I'm past the tractor trailer, and I just minimized the risk. A lot of times you could be following the car. This is also, you got to be careful. You could be following that car in front of you, and then traffic builds up, that car starts slowing down, and then you're stuck to a tractor trailer. Now, a lot of these things I'm saying is basically when you're going highway speeds. Now, there could be times where you could be slowed down in traffic, and then you really have no option other than being next to a car or a tractor trailer. But if you're only going 20-30 miles an hour, there's a high probability when you're going slower that they already see you, they know that you're there, and you have way more time to react in a slow moving situation. But at 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, things happen in a blink of an eye. I got 3 guys behind me following me, so I'm in the left lane right now. This is a quick tip. If you guys are riding together, this is like, you know, basic knowledge like that you guys need to know. If you guys are riding together on a highway, if the lead guy is in the left lane, the guy like Joe behind me, he's on the right side, and then Glenn behind him, he's on my side, and then George, he's on Joe's side. So it's basically a staggered formation, and there's a lot of benefits to that. If you ride staggered, especially now, Joe's on my right side, but he's fairly close. Just to give you an idea, me, Joe, Glenn, and George, we've all been riding over 30 years, and I'm not talking about together. Combined is probably over 120 years, but we each have over 30 years of riding experience. We've been riding together for probably over 3 years, but the main reason in riding a staggered formation is so if, for example, if I come up to something, whether it's a car that just slams on the brakes or an accident, or a deer pops up onto the highway, whatever it is, if I have to do an emergency braking situation, he's not right behind me. The person that's behind me is Glenn, but he's way back, so he's going to have more chance, more opportunity to see me. Whereas Joe, he's closer to me, but it really isn't that vital because he's on the right side. So just in case he doesn't see me or sees me braking a little later, if he cannot slow down, he's going to pass me. He's going to be able to have that room and pass me by without hitting me. If you ride in a straight line, that is just like cars do, for example. If you guys ride in a straight line, that is just a super high risk. If the front rider is going to have to emergency brake, stop on a dime, there's a high chance of there being a pileup straight line formation. So don't ever do that. So now, these kind of tips are primarily for more beginner riders than veteran riders, but they still should be applied to anybody. Doesn't matter how long they have been riding. Number one, you could be on a beautiful ride, you and the guys, whether it's on the highway or on a beautiful twisty backcountry road. Do not start looking at the scenery and forget about what's ahead of you. Yes, we all can't obviously stop and turn to watch the beautiful scenery. I do all the time, and sometimes you just get lost in the moment, especially like we've been to some amazing, beautiful places, and sometimes you literally could forget, like, wow, like, oh my God, you know, your head's off to the side, but you forget that you're on a road and the car in front of you could stop again for that deer, for that accident, what have you. So make sure you're focused, make sure you're in the moment, make sure you're there in the present time. Yeah, take a quick look, but do not forget where you are. You are on a motorcycle. Next tip, hey, who doesn't love some nice music when you're obviously going for a ride, whether it's in the city, a short ride, or especially if you're going on a long ride? Who doesn't like some music, listen to some tunes? I love it, I enjoy it, it's relaxing. You put your music on, you look at the beautiful scenery, you kick back, and just let the miles fly by. But I would strongly recommend for the new riders, for the beginner riders, do not be blasting your music, whether it's on your motorcycle, whether you have earbuds on. I strongly recommend do not have earbuds or any type of wireless Bluetooth setup, whatever you have going on, and blast your music. You don't want to be distracted. And also, a lot of times when you do have loud music on, you could be potentially in a situation where you're veering off into the next lane and possibly that car is actually beeping at you, but you can't hear it because of the loud music. So definitely try to keep your music at a volume where you could still obviously hear your music, but also hear a horn sound or some sirens. That's also very important. You could be going through an intersection and maybe you have that green light, but there could be potentially some police activity or fire activity, EMS. They have their sirens on, but if you have your music blasting, you could potentially not hear that. So that is very, very dangerous. So my thoughts on the matter, if you're a beginner rider, you shouldn't be, in my opinion, you shouldn't be listening to any type of music. You need to be focusing on learning your skills, on learning the motorcycle, on being safe, and just getting a lot of miles under your belt before you start going, installing earbuds in your phone or loud music, whatever. Another thing is, I strongly recommend to everybody, make sure you have a phone holder mounted on your bike. Just like if you're riding in your car, you should have a bracket or a phone holder, so this way you do not have to operate the phone hands-free. You do not want to be fumbling around, whether that's in your car, especially if you're riding your motorcycle, trying to fumble around with a phone while you're riding. And trust me, I've seen it happen. I absolutely seen it happen. I see when we go to a lot of the rallies and bike nights and bike meets, and I meet up with people, I walk by, I look at all their bikes. I see some bikes without phone holders mounted to their bars. So what does that tell you? It could either tell you two things. A, they do not ride their bike far away from home. They only ride in short distances in the areas where they know obviously they're at. So this way they don't need to use any kind of navigation. They know where they're going. Or B, they're fumbling with their phone while they're riding the bike. If they're smart, I'll give some credit. If they're smart, maybe they pull over and obviously take out their phone and use their phone and look at what they need to look at and then put it away and get on with their ride or get on with their trip. But I've seen a lot of times where it happens where they don't have a phone holder, especially on a highway or in town. They take out their phone and they're like looking at their phone, scrolling, whether it's to turn music back on or to change a song or to look at navigation. Very, very dangerous. Do not do that. If you have your phone mounted like I do, you could easily go through and scroll without having to fumble the phone in your hands. And just in case there is something happening in front of you where you have to turn the bike, do a quick maneuver to move out of the way or to reach for that brake, you can. Otherwise, you're going to be dropping your phone. And that's the least of your worries. A lot of times people have an expensive phone, they don't want to drop it, and they think they're actually going to be able to hold that phone in their hand while they're going for the grip or for the brake lever and be able to operate their motorcycle properly. That's not happening. One of the biggest tips I can give you guys, especially on the highway, is if you're riding behind a vehicle and you see that there is traffic building up, The biggest risk that you have while that's going on is getting hit from the back. So that's another reason why I strongly recommend you riding not in the middle of the lane right behind the car that's in front of you. I strongly recommend you being in the left or in the right. Now, what is it, the left or the right? Where it could be different. If I'm in the left lane, like now, I tend to ride in the left. If I'm in the right side, I'll tend to ride in the right. If there is no cars, I always try to be the furthest distance away from any car at that particular instance, if that makes sense. So the main reason why I tell you guys to either stay on the left or on the right is because if traffic starts building up, that's when a lot of accidents happen. People are on their phones, people are distracted, people are looking somewhere else, and if the cars in front of you start slowing down rapidly, and you obviously are starting to brake hard, if the car behind you does not see you, you don't want to be pancaked, squashed between two cars. You want to be able to be either on the left or on the right. So this way, God forbid, if you do get hit, you'll actually not be sandwiched between the two cars. You'll actually have room to move ahead. Or in a more ideal situation, whenever I see traffic starting to build up, and cars starting to brake ahead of me, that's when I look in my rear view mirrors constantly. I mean constantly. My eyes are more focused on the rear view mirrors than they are ahead of me, because I'm always watching for the car behind me and to try to make sure that they see me and that they are slowing down with me. I always have one or two fingers on the clutch lever, and I always try to keep one or two fingers on the brake lever, so this way I can make a quick decision. If I see a car not slowing down, I could easily move to the left of the car in front of me or get out of the way. Another tip is, if I see cars braking, a lot of times I give a couple taps. I do like a quick 2, 3, 4 taps on the brake lever, so this way they could see my lights flashing. It just gives them more visibility to see that you are obviously braking in front of them. And I will also give a lot of room in those types of situations, a lot of room between me and the car in front of me, so this way I have room to adjust, whether I need to hit the gas if I see the car behind me not slowing down, whatever. But it just gives me that much more room to react. If I'm really close to the car in front of me and something happens behind me, there is very little chance or time or room that you are going to have to react to. Now, this tip is actually more focused towards people with cruisers, baggers, people that have highway pegs. So if you're on a highway like I am now, nobody in front of you, you see no visible signs of traffic up ahead, yeah, why not? Kick those feet up, right? Kick those feet up and enjoy the ride, enjoy the day, enjoy the scenery, no problem. But where it becomes dangerous is this. I see a lot of people, especially around town, riding where there's a lot of intersections, a lot of driveways, a lot of hidden driveways, a lot of parking lots where cars could come out, or on the highway. If you are in traffic or in a predicament where you're in and out of traffic and cars are braking a lot, keep your feet off of the highway pegs. And why do I say that? First things first is you're going to have a lot more maneuverability when your feet are planted on the pegs or on the floorboards, and you can maneuver that bike in an emergency situation so much better. And number two is, if you need to brake, do an emergency braking situation, you need your foot near the brake pedal. Sometimes the front brake is not going to be enough to stop in an emergency situation. You're going to have to slam on that front brake, possibly, as well as applying back brake, as well as downshifting to give you some engine braking. So you might need all three of those things into play. So just keep that in mind. Around town, keep your feet down on the pegs or floorboards. On the highway, you start seeing some traffic, or if it's really busy, people starting to brake a lot, keep your feet down. Always be prepared. Hands on the grips, few fingers on the levers. So we're gonna be getting off here, but before we get off the highway, you see the shoulder on the left and on the right. Do not ride in the shoulder. All the garbage from the roads get kicked up by all the cars and vehicles and trucks, and it gets spit out into the shoulders. So I would only recommend, if you, in an emergency, that's the only time, in an emergency, ride the shoulder. But if you do ride the shoulder, and I'm telling you not to, because there is a high chance, not only you're not allowed, but there is a high chance that you are going to get a flat. You're going to get a nail, a screw, something in the tire, because that's where the majority of the crap goes. That's where it's all laying. So stay out of the shoulders. So now, I think I covered the majority of it on the highway, what I feel are the most important things, and what I do on a daily basis whenever I'm riding. Those are the few most important things to watch out for on the highway. But to tell you the truth, statistics show that the majority of accidents happen around town, happen only a few miles away from your home. So like intersections like this, I have the green light, but I'm always looking out of my peripheral vision. I'm always zoning, almost like a scanning, I should say. I'm scanning the area, always. I never get complacent to myself and say, oh, okay, don't worry about it. I got the green light. They have the red light. They're going to stop. Bullshit. Don't ever think like that, because you could have somebody that is looking down at their phone. You could have somebody having a health issue, passing out or something like that. You could have somebody distracted. You could have somebody looking off to the side, you know. So maybe they don't see the red light, and what happens, you're going through that green light, and then as you're going through the intersection, here comes the car or truck, what have you, and they don't see that red light. So don't ever get complacent. Don't ever get comfortable to yourself, whether it's at a intersection with a red or green light, intersection with a stop sign, or if they have the stop sign. Don't ever be complacent. Intersections are probably where the majority, most of the accidents happen with motorcycles, including cars on cars. Whenever I'm riding through town or wherever around town, whenever I see accidents, that's where, and I'm sure you guys could agree with this, that's where the majority of accidents happen, at intersections, because one vehicle doesn't see the other. And whenever you see an emergency vehicle, whether it's EMS, cop, or fire, move the hell over immediately. Because if it was your house or you, yourself, or your family member or whatever, and they needed help, you would obviously want people to move over as quickly as possible so that emergency crew worker could get to them as quickly as possible. Train tracks, another thing. Don't get complacent. Look both ways. Just because the gates aren't down doesn't mean a train is not coming? What if there's a faulty gate? It happens. You know what I'm trying to say, guys? Like, don't get complacent with anything. That's why I said, you know, like basic stuff like, oh, be careful, head on a swivel. You know, there's just so much more to it. You have to have a sense of your surroundings. You have to understand the possibilities or the outcome of other things not going your way. Like, what could happen if this happened? Just like this car pulling out right here. Like, don't think they could see you. Always think they don't see you. So I'm always, whenever I'm riding and a car pulls out like they just did right there, I always start slowing down, make sure that they have eyes on me. And even if they have eyes on me, I don't get complacent and think right away, oh, they see me. Because they could be looking further ahead, and a motorcycle is not a big target. It's possible. You don't know how their eyesight is. You know what I mean? You don't know who it is. So do not get complacent, even though you see their face and they're like looking right at you. But there's a chance that they might not be looking right at you. There's a chance where they might not see you. Back to the highway a little bit, and I want to go over a few more things here, like in the shoulder. Another reason you don't want to go into the shoulder, if you could see it, there is so much loose gravel. That is so dangerous. So if you even, especially if you're in a turn, like look at all that loose gravel. Like, you go into there and start braking, I don't care what ABS system you have, you're gonna go down. Very dangerous. And if you're riding with a group of guys and the loose gravel is actually on the road, make sure you give them the sign, whether you point down on the ground or you put your leg down, so this way they know what is up ahead. So this way they watch out for it. So even going through towns like this, nice, quaint, beautiful towns around your house, wherever, that's where your eyes and your head, literally, like I always say, head on a swivel, literally have to be scanning the roads constantly. There's intersections, driveways, parking lots, people backing out all the time, people pulling out all the time, turning. You really have to be like 10 times more aware when you're riding around town than you do on the highway. And that's why the majority of accidents happen around town and not on the highway. So now another big thing, when you're riding around town and you're on a faster road like this one, where the speed limit is 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, and it's 2 lanes, one way that way and one way this way. When cars pass you, this is almost the biggest fear that I have, to be quite honest with you guys. This is the biggest fear of people either not paying attention on their phones, and I always forget, drunk driving or under the influence of drugs or just distracted, and having them pass you and veering into your lane. That is probably the biggest fear of any motorcycle rider out there. I will have to tell you that. So, to minimize risk, you see what I do? When I see a car coming, I move over into the right lane. I don't care if I'm riding with 20, 30 bikes in staggered formation, doesn't matter, because that car's coming. I don't know if they see me. I don't know if they're going to veer into my lane. I move over into all the way to the right, because that's just going to give me that much more time to react. And then obviously if I look ahead, just like now, and I don't see anybody, I move over to the left. But now I see this truck, I'm moving over to the right. There is no way, I'm telling you guys, there is no way that I'm staying right here on the friggin' double yellow line next to a 80,000 pound tandem dump truck passing me. There's no way. Okay, let's say this. What if he does see you? What if He does see you, and he will not veer into your lane. What if a piece of gravel come off of his truck? What if a lug nut comes off of that damn wheel? What if anything? What if he forgot to like put a mallet back into his toolbox off the truck that he was using to hammer down the locks on the back of the gate of the dump, right? Anything. It could either be a car, or it could either be a dump truck or a pickup truck. What if something falls off of that vehicle and he's traveling at 60 miles an hour passing you, and that item actually falls off and hits you in the chest or hits you in the leg? So it doesn't necessarily have to be the car. It could be something falling off of that vehicle that is going to hit you, or a wheel and tire assembly popping off of that car and wheel. So that's why when I see cars coming by me, chances are when we're slow in traffic, doing 10, 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, that's not necessarily as important as it is when you're going 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. I move over. I give some more space, not only to a car that could possibly, like I said, be distracted or just veer into my lane, or anything that's going to fall off of that car. I'm going to have more room, more time to react, or it's just going to pass me by because I'm not 8 feet over next to that double yellow line. So cars coming, stay to the right, get away from them. And that just goes back to that one thing that I said in the beginning. At any time, always try to be as far away from the nearest car to you as possible. Just try to stay away from them. Give yourself as much possible space, as much possible distance as possible. Try to keep it in your head like this. You know, when we were going through COVID, that 6-foot rule, right? That we all had to do. Try to do the same thing while on your motorcycle. Make believe like the car has a deadly virus, right? Try to stay away from it as far as possible at all times. This way you have the most chance, minimize the risks, and the more room and the more time you'll have to react to any given situation. And especially around town, having all those intersections, all those parking lots, driveways, everything where a car could just pop out at any time, I'm always having at least 1 or 2 fingers on the clutch lever and 1 or 2 fingers on the brake lever. Now, if I got the cruise on and I got to do something with my hand, whatever, I got my foot on the rear brake pedal, no matter what. Don't ever get complacent. I can't stress that enough. Don't ever say to yourself, no problem, they see me. No problem, I got the green light, they're gonna stop. I got the go-ahead, they have the stop sign, they're gonna stop. I'm riding next to that car, they see me. Don't think like that. The minute you think like that is when your risk level just went 100 times more. Wow, guys, I'm telling you, we left this morning. It was probably in the upper 30s, and all I had on was a t-shirt, my heated jacket, which I never plugged in this morning, and I have this new soft shell black jacket from Beyond Riders. Absolutely amazing. I am so warm, doesn't allow any wind to go through. That is crazy. I got the links below, guys, if you guys want to check all them out. I have all their flannels, and what's great about these is they're all Kevlar lined. So I have a link down below in the description. You guys could get a discount off your entire purchase. So another important thing is, guys, especially when you're a beginner or a veteran rider, ride your own ride. Not everybody rides like the person next to them. Everybody has their own skill set. Everybody has their own skill level. So just because, you know, you're out with the guys and, you know, someone's riding fast in front of you and you want to keep up or you want to have fun as well, but they may just be a better rider than you, or maybe just, you know, taking more risk. Don't try to impress. You're not impressing anybody. Ride your own ride. That is so important. I know it's cliche, everybody says it, but it's the truth. It's simple and it's to the point and it's the truth. Whatever you feel comfortable doing or you think is your max that you're going to be comfortable doing, take it down 10%. And that's where your comfort level should be. And that's where you will always be safe. You are not going to impress anybody by pushing yourself, pushing your bike to the limits, and possibly getting into an accident, destroying your motorcycle, getting hurt in the process. You're not going to be impressing anybody if your bike is destroyed and then you're in the hospital and at home recouping for the next 6 months. That's not impressive at all. What's impressive is that you could ride for years, for decades, without getting hurt, coming home to your family, to your loved ones, safe every day, being able to go to work, being able to play with your children, being able to enjoy life with your wife and your family. That's what's impressive. When you could say, hey, I've been riding this many years and knock on wood, nothing has happened. That's what is impressive. So now another thing, we're coming to a red light. I'm gonna tell you something right here. Don't ever stay in the middle of the vehicle. I'm gonna stay to the left right here right now, right? Or you could stay to the right, because again, if that car behind you doesn't see you or is distracted and and is not slowing down, you want to be able to have a place where you could shoot through. And if you are up in the middle of the car in front of you's butt, you are not going to have the time or the room or the place to do some emergency maneuver to get the hell out of the way. So what I always like to do is when I come to a stop, either at a red light or at a stop sign or traffic, I'm scanning my rear view mirrors, making sure that I see the cars behind me, making sure that they are starting to slow down. But if there is no cars behind me, when I come to a complete stop behind the car in front of me, I keep it in first gear. I keep it in first gear, obviously with the clutch in, my hands on the brake, and until I see that car or that truck pull up next to me in the back and start slowing down and make a complete stop, I have always the bike in gear. And the reason for that is if I see that that car behind me is not slowing down, you are going to need to get the hell out of Dodge. So that's why you keep it in gear. That's why you have your hands on the throttle. This way you can immediately give it throttle, let go of the clutch, and the bike is going to go, and you could get yourself out of that predicament. If you have the bike in neutral, really cool bridge. If you have the bike in neutral and then something happens, chances are you will never have, you will never have enough reaction time to put the bike in first gear and do that entire process to get out of the way. We're crossing over the Hudson River.